Hey everybody, Star 6 Wars 1 here, and welcome to the next video of the month of favorites. For this one, we're going to take a look at the first of 3 of our reviews this month. For this one, we are taking a look at Trigun. Now, I have stated before that I really like Trigun. It was one of my all-time favorite anime, and I honestly really enjoyed it. Does it still hold up? Well, let's find out. First up, the story. Now, the story is really complex at times. It's very silly and goofy in the beginning parts of the show, but once you get into some of the other elements later on in the show, it becomes kinda dark. And by kinda dark, I mean can go into really dark territory sometimes. So yeah, it has some tonal changes. I do think, however, unlike some other shows that have tonal problems, I think this one fits because you could tell they could juggle both ones and they worked in both ways for both series. So I think it doesn't fall into the same traps as other shows of its kind, at least in that regard. Now, I will admit there are a few unanswered questions along the way, and there is one or two plot holes, but overall, in the long-running scheme of things, unless you want to read the manga, which gives most answers to it anyways, you don't need these answers. The anime is trying to portray the story it wants to, and it does it flawlessly. No complaints with the story, though I just had to mention those little things just to get them out of the way. Next up, the characters, and I have to say this right now. I don't want to spoil one character, but I may have no choice. One of these characters will definitely end up on my favorites characters thing coming up in later videos. Now, let's talk about some of them individually. First up, Vash the Stampede, our main character, is a goofball. A huge, huge goofball. But he can be serious when needed and has some emotional problems, as seen later in the anime. Though you could probably figure this out by around episode 5, so it's not too much a spoiler. If I was to explain it, then it is, but otherwise, yeah, it's not a spoiler. Next up are the insurance girls, Millie Thompson and Meryl Streep. I really like these two. I think they feel very genuine with their emotions, and honest to God, I will say that they make a great duo and great foils to the other, while still being very friendly with each other, and their relationship with Vash is definitely interesting to watch. More so Meryl's though. Meryl. We all know what you think of Vash, even if you try to deny it. No, you can figure out, again, I'm not really I'm spoiling much there, because, once again, you can figure this out by episode 2, if you're paying enough attention. So again, just a quick warning, if I spoil anything, I apologize in advance. Next up is the character that isn't introduced till episode 8, Nicholas D. Wolfwood. A supposed priest with a very good use of firearms, and is very much a foil to Vash, yet at the same time being a kindred spirit. Again, won't spoil why, but I'll leave you to your speculations. The rest of the characters beyond those 4 are really good, and make the world feel harsh, yet understandably harsh. You can believe some of the stuff these people do, despicable or kind as they are, and you really do feel for them and their plight. So again, the characters make up the best part of the show, with the main character Vash being probably on the top of the list for me. And honest to God, the character is perfect for the show. Just saying. And I will leave you with that. Next up is the animation, which is the anime's weak point. Unfortunately, the animation has not aged well. And there's a couple spotty scenes you could tell where the budget was probably running out. Not that Trigun was working with a big budget to begin with, but you can really tell in some of the scenes later on, or some of the scenes early on, depending on your how close attention you're paying. It didn't bother me too much, but I know it would bother some, so I just thought I'd mention it. And it is pretty much the one big negative I would really have with Trigun's anime. Next up is the music. The opening is fucking fantastic. Simply fantastic. Nothing needs to be said about it. Except fantastic. Now, the rest, that's not to include the rest of the soundtrack, which I really liked. I think this is among my favorite soundtracks in anime, with several of them just being very simple but effective tracks, and I really enjoyed that. No complaints there. Where I can complain about the music, however, is the ending theme. It feels very out of place for the show, and I don't know, just It's not terrible on its own, I guess, but Overall, Trigun is amazing. Simply amazing. The show is an old anime, and it still holds up to me even today. I will always be impressed with the fact that it is aged incredibly well, and in my opinion, this is my favorite classic anime because of the characters, because of the story, because of the music, and just overall is a real treat to behold. And I will always hold Trigun with a special place in my heart. I really enjoyed it, and I hope to continue that for years to come. I give Trigun a 9 out of 10. Yeah, it's not quite a 9.5 just because of the animation, but other than that, I highly recommend you see this anime. It's really one of the very few that I would say, even if you're not that big into its genres, go watch it. You might enjoy it. If you don't, though, okay, you don't have to. That's just my opinion, and that's all that needs to be said about that. So, hope you guys will enjoy it. Anyways, that's all from me. This has been Star 6 Wars 1, and I'll see you guys next time.